Greetings, everyone. This is your boy, Sam Oram, coming at you with another episode of the Deep Dive Podcast. As usual, we have a powerful guest for you tonight, but before we get into that, we always like for you to understand that we have a lot of people on all over the world. We're excited. We want to welcome you to the Deep Dive Podcast. In fact, we're in 172 countries airing right now, so we're excited about that. We've had some incredible guests in season 1. We're starting season 2 with a bang, and everything has been going absolutely incredibly. But look, I'm not going to be long tonight. I just want to be able to share with you somebody that, we're going to have a good time, but this is a guy that's near and dear to me. He is my brother. He is my friend. He is my business partner. We have a lot of fun together, but this guy knows what he's doing in terms of business. We're talking about the business of sports. He is all sports. He knows the sports industry, in particular basketball. Superstar basketball player himself. He's played for many years. Now he teaches, trains, coaches, and he has the entrepreneurial mindset of a sports business owner. So I'm just excited to be able to call him my brother. Yeah, we're going to have some fun, but at the end of the day, you're going to understand what the business of sports is all about. We use this moniker of sports, but at the end of the day, it's all about business in general. How do you control your own future? How do you create that future? We always talk about in the Deep Dive Podcast how you can create that future, how you empower other people, how you are here to do something great. Well, even though we're going to talk about business, it still has the same principles of life. And so we're going to do that. We're going to talk about it. But our guest tonight, again, this is a guy that I have so much respect for. He's done a lot of things around the world. He is an international traveler. He is an international business owner, businessman. He knows what he's doing. I'm kind of choking a little bit on my words because he's also my little brother. And you know how that is sometimes. Saying nice things about him, it's a little challenging, but we'll get through it. With all that being said, guys, in all seriousness, I want to introduce to the world my business partner, my brother, and my friend, none other than Mr. Jermaine Barnes. JB, what's good?
How you doing, brother? I'm very excited to be here.
I'm doing outstanding, man. How are you?
Man, I'm doing great, man. I just landed back in the States today to visit the fam. Hopefully I get to see you out here, but then it's back to business, as you understand.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Well, I know it's all about business. We'll talk a little bit about that in a second, but I do want everybody to know that we have a lot of fun too. Now, this is a guy. Let me tell you a little bit about JB. I call him JB, but this brother here, this dude he is no nonsense. I mean, what you see is what you get. He no sugarcoating. It is what it is. That's one of the things I love about him. We had an opportunity to hang out here for many years and just do business and just enjoy the brotherhood. And I just know he's a crazy guy, but he's crazy in a good way, and as he's traveling the world, as he said, he's doing some things. And we'll talk about some of the things that he's doing, but I want you to understand that, before we get into anything too deep, that this guy is crazy. Let me tell you a quick story. And then we were out there somewhere near my home in Alpharetta, Georgia, and we stopped at this gas station. This is when I knew it was really, really crazy. I don't even know if you remember this, JB, but we stopped at this gas station, and this dude goes in. He gives this lady the blues. I don't know if she's a cashier, employee. I don't know what she was, but he goes in there. And this lady, she didn't know what to expect. He went in there, he just let her have it. I can't go into details specifically what he did, but just understand he let her have it. And I'm like, bro, what is wrong with you? Why are you always bothering people? Why are you messing with people? And I can't tell you what he said, but just understand, this brother, he is crazy. So that's when I knew I had my hands full with him. But by the same token, man, sometimes when we get into our deep conversations, he's a very, very powerful brother in his own right. So there you have both ends of the spectrum. So what you got to say about that, bro?
Listen, no, I won't say nobody. I'll give you that. I have my ways, but only you know me. So we'll leave it at that.
Yeah, you got your ways.
Because if anybody know you, you're not going to be around people that you're not like. So we'll leave it at that.
Well, now that part is true. That part is true, but I mean, I'm like, how did we first kick it off? I think that was we kicking with hot sauce. Who was that? Hot
Oh
sauce?
my God, yeah, that's what happened. We met at your place in Alpharetta, and we had a meeting with Philip Hot Sauce,
Hot
and
sauce.
we was with your guy Jerome Dodd. It's about a 5 people meeting, and me and you were looking at each other in the meeting, both zoned off like this is the worst negotiation deal of all time. Like, why are we here? That's what the looks was. So I think you interrupted the meeting, like, bro, you all right? And I was like, I'm good, man. I'm good.
Right.
After that, it was, me and you more so conversed together outside of that little situation because he wasn't the brightest light bulb in the shed. So we'll leave it at that.
Hey, look, he said that, y'all. I didn't say
I said it.
that. He's suing me. I
You can't
told
get sued
y'all.
for saying somebody ain't bright.
Well, that's especially if it's true. So hey, you can't get
Like,
sued for the truth.
like I said, he ain't that far off from what he's
Yeah,
around.
that was a weak meeting. I'm like, what? I'm saying to myself, why are these folks here in my crib? Well, he can't put two sentences together. What are we talking about owning something? But it's all good. But you're right. We kind of hit it off and understood business on a whole nother level. And I know you've taken it to another level. As a matter of fact, you had your own podcast with ESPN. Is that correct?
Yeah, Truth Podcast.
Called the Truth Podcast. What's that all about?
Well, it's actually interesting, man. I think they were just on my social media and caught whiff of a lot of our different topics, and I partnered with the NBA Buzz, and we brought the show together, and they wanted to air it on their network on their CLT podcast, and we've been doing it for 2 years now. I mean, it's just a lot of fun, a lot of NBA guests and WNBA, international, and it gives people a different feel for what really goes on behind the scenes, and like you said, the business aspect of it, because the sport, is it's not enough. They don't understand how the systems really work. So we try to bring light to every situation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, of course, I've been on the Truth Podcast checking you out, and I'm just shaking my head, man. These cats, they not ready for you, bro. They just not ready for you.
Nah, don't tune in or sign on to my show if you're not, well versed or studied. You're not gonna show up and just say and do anything you want to.
Right. I'm like, I think it was Steve.
Ryan Hollis.
Yeah. The look he had on his face, man, when he wasn't ready. He wasn't
Hired hits, man. Hired hits, man. They got to stop hiring these puppies. That's why they would never hire me. I'd be fired like the first 5 minutes. I wouldn't even make it to the air.
Hey, I believe it, but you gonna keep it real, man. Ryan Hollis, I was looking at that look on his face, and I'm like, oh my God. And then also Steven Jackson. Was it Steven Jackson?
We had LeVar Ball.
LeVar Ball, yeah.
LeVar Ball, Derek Anderson from Jordan Brand that played for the Spurs, Ryan Hollis, Cynthia Cooper, the GOAT.
Yeah.
So we had a lot of high profile guests. I'm really proud that they took the time out to be on there just for me. I thought that was pretty cool, man, because you grew up watching these people or respecting their work ethic, and now they're giving you that same mutual respect back. Is pretty cool.
Yeah, no, that is cool. That is pretty cool, man. It's priceless though when you actually bring that knowledge to them. You coming from statistics. You're not coming from emotion. You're coming from statistics. You coming from a place of knowing what you're talking about. That's one of the things I appreciate about you. You really know what you're doing. So I look at the looks on their face and I just start chuckling. I'm like, Lord.
Well, they gotta understand the upbringing. Like, especially when we're talking about like me and your history. Like, a lot of people don't know this story, but when you were, I don't want to say names, but when you were in works with real big names and big brands and you had big people behind you, I remember specifically we were at the table negotiating our company and your company about forming a super team in Asia.
Yeah.
And we're talking about, I think, a $4 million project. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? The negotiations got all the way down to the end point to where you backed out and you said, this, and this doesn't make sense. Now I'm a young man and I'm supposed to be the focal point of this unit as far as the team and the star player and the brand and all these different things. And I couldn't understand the business aspect of it. And I tell people all the time, this is where I grew in business, where the emotions and the numbers have to make sense. Now, y'all got to understand, Sam loved me, respected me, but the business didn't add up. So he said, look, this is how I feel over here. But right here, I'm going to fail. And I can't fail just because I like you. And I had to understand that. That hurt, but it taught me everything I needed to know about business moving forward. And I use that same energy when I'm talking to the new generation now. Like, look, this ain't adding up. 1 + 1 = 2. I'm not going to fail just because I like you. Right. Or if I'm coaching somebody, I'm not going to play you just because I like you. It doesn't matter who you are. If the math don't add up, I can't rock with you just because this is about business. And I had to learn that the hard way, and I learned that from Sam Moore. Like right there, that's where it started. So I've always been very grateful for the business aspect that you gave me, the maturity you gave me, and how I operated in business, how I operated with people. Everybody gets the perception of social media or shows or whatever mixed up to one-on-one business and what has to be and what's going to generate funds or what's going to make longevity inside your company. Right. And that's what I'm about. And I wanted to be successful. So that's where I started. That's where it first started for me, and I tell everybody that this ain't personal, this business. Yeah. So if you love me and you respect me, have your business together. And then we can do things together. You know what I'm saying? And people don't understand that.
Right. Yeah, that's absolutely true. And I appreciate you saying that, man. The interesting thing is just so many people do take it personally. It's like, like I'm saying something bad to them. It's like, look, it's just the way it is. It's not going to work. You have to be able to cross all T's and dot all I's. As a matter of fact, I'm not in the business of business. I'm in the business of business. And sometimes people come at you, want to do business. And that's just not who we are. We're no longer there. And like you said, it doesn't mean that we're unfriends or we're not boys or I don't love you or don't respect you, any of that stuff. It don't mean that. It just means that I'm not going to put you or myself or anybody in a position to fail when I know better. So, that's one of the lessons for those of you who are listening around the world. I know a lot of you are tuning in because you're interested in business in whatever capacity, especially sports. Some of you even interested in, as a player. I recall on a couple of occasions, a couple of guys that play basketball, and they wanted me to connect them with you, JB, and, a couple of cats I sent over. You were like, what the hell is this? Who is this? Who is this? You said, don't send me his no work ethic. Feel entitled. I ain't got time for that. I'm like, Lord.
Hey man, like the biggest misconception when we're talking about business of basketball is they don't understand it's a business. Mm-hmm. So your resume has to add up before you can even get in the door. They communicate with you like, yo, I'm trying to hoop. Okay, well, where's your resume? Right. Oh, I can make it, right? No, you don't get to make it. Like, your resume is your history. Yep. And on top of your history, who's representing you? Like, who's going to speak up for you? Mm-hmm. Who's your network? You know what I mean? They don't understand how this system works. Where's your film? We need to see documentation because, like Sam, being in the music industry, you can eyeball a star. Mm-hmm. You can close your eyes and hear a star. If somebody comes in your door and you say, paint me a picture, Sam Moore sits back, closes his eyes, sing, and I need to see the story. Right. That ain't it. Right? It's the same thing. If you don't have those three categories, you can't be a successful professional athlete. And social media is the gift and the curse because everybody on social media is rich. Everybody's on social media is a star. Everybody's a pro. You can be whatever you want to be in that virtual reality. But guess what? Key term with us is reality. Right. So when all the fluff is gone, show me what's real. And if you can't, why are you offended? Like you said, this ain't personal. You didn't come prepared.
Yeah.
This ain't no business, like you said. This is a business. I'm
Yeah.
not gonna lose because of you. I'm not. This not homeboy time.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. But that's one of the things that we can relate on. As a matter of fact, when I think about it, I talk to a lot of my colleagues and business partners, and they look at me as like, even in a situation like that, it's like, I don't care. I don't care that your feelings are hurt. I don't care that you don't appreciate the way I'm conversing. I don't care about that. That has nothing to do with me and everything to do with you. All I care about is I'm not doing business. You got to be able to come correct. So how was it for you? In terms of being a professional basketball player. I know you played ball, and like I said, you're now transition from coaching and owning and all these other things. But how was it as a professional athlete yourself?
um, you got to be specific in which aspect. Which one you want me to talk about? What are we dwelling on as a professional athlete?
When you played ball, when you hooped, what was that experience like for you when you hooped?
Um, as you know, I played in 17 countries.
Right.
So for me, when I left college, the biggest thing to me was I wanted to see the world. I knew that's what I wanted to do, period. I wanted to see the world. I wanted to be in a new place, around new people, playing in different atmosphere. That's what I wanted. I was never a fan of just staying in Atlanta, Georgia. Like I wanted to see what was out there.
Right.
And I think that groomed me as a young man and as an athlete. As far as playing, there's no high like it to be in front of 20,000 people and have to compete and perform. It's a whole nother thing. If you're in the gym playing by yourself or at the rec, it takes a whole nother animal to go in front of 20,000 and perform, and do your job. And it's a misconception out there that this professional basketball thing is easy. For example, if Susie goes and gets a job at Delta, in order for her to get fired, she has to do a lot. She has to do a
Mm-hmm.
lot to get fired. If she spills a cup of ice on a flight, she won't get fired. If she
Mm-hmm.
spills a drink in somebody's lap, she won't get fired. She has a bad day, she won't get fired. Maybe rolled up, but not fired. As a professional basketball player in Europe, if you have one bad game, you're going home. So if
Wow.
I sign for $50,000 for 6 months, if I have one bad game, that 50,000 doesn't exist. So I
Mm-hmm.
have the utmost respect for people that have played as long as I played, or 10 years or 15 years. You know, the NBA is a prima donna league. When you get overseas in Europe, these people have cities have pride, and you're there to do one thing: save us. And if you
Mm.
can't save us, you going home. It's literally like 1985 Showtime at the Apollo. If
Right.
you don't have talent, we gonna get you out of here. That's
Right.
what
Right.
it's like.
Right. No, that's true. That is true, though. That's true. I remember we had a conversation, one of our deep conversations years ago, and you were talking about, just traveling overseas for good. And I'm
Yeah,
like, bro, let's talk about this for.
yeah,
I'm giving it a good version. I was basically like, nah, that ain't a good idea.
yeah,
And you shared your pros and cons, but then I see the end result, of what you have done around the world and what you have built around the world and still doing, and I say this with a sense of pride that, you have done some incredible things. I'm really proud of you for what you're doing, even in the midst of all the adversity, having to deal with COVID. I know how that affected your business. And then
yeah.
you deal with a lot of idiots. I know how that affects your business. And you still thriving in the midst of it all. So, you ought to be applauded for that, bro.
Well, I mean, again, they got to understand what we're a product of. We weren't allowed to be woe is me men around Sam. It's like that didn't work. Okay, now what?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's either you're gonna die or you're gonna be creative. It's just like the furnace. It's either you're producing a diamond or you're a dud. Like, what are you gonna do? You know what I'm saying? And
Yep.
I feel like us as entrepreneurs and creative people, the real ones, the worst times produce the most creativity, the
Mm-hmm.
most ability to be innovative. Like you get your best ideas and you channel the absolute best of yourself during the worst adversity, you
Right.
know? And I've learned that. And I appreciate the times, because it just goes to show who's real and who's fake as far as being inside the the arenas as far as whether it's music, entertainment, sports, or whatever. You know who's real based off longevity, who can last. It's like I always use music as an example, but it's like a one-hit wonder or a Prince.
Right.
You know, you got Milli Vanilli, or are you Michael Jackson? You know, if you're lasting, they can't take anything from you. They can say whatever they want to say, but it's like it's not going to be around for decades if they're not doing something right.
Yeah, that's true. That good music lasts long after you gone.
Yep.
So you're right about that. Let me ask you this, man. I told you I was going to ask you about this, but you know, this whole GOAT debate. We talking about basketball now. This whole debate with GOAT. I've seen it on the Truth Podcast. I've seen the conversations. I've seen the social media conversations. You know, once and for all, for our listeners, I know this is a different audience, but for our listeners, what is your approach on this LeBron versus Michael debate in terms of who's the GOAT?
LeBron James is special. He's special. What makes him so special is he's a fraud. I'll say that openly. He's the biggest presidential campaign artist of basketball I've ever seen in my life. He paints pictures, he builds narratives. Even right now, he's not injured. He's building a narrative. It's amazing to watch because me and you don't just do sports or entertainment or whatever. We're studiers of life, of warriors, conquerors, Alexander the Great, Napoleon, or whatever. So when you read and you understand the strategies of businessmen, you can see the systems. LeBron is a businessman.
Right.
He's playing chess, and he's great at it. He's a genius. But when we're talking about just purely basketball, not being an entrepreneur, not building an agency in the league or doing all these different things he do to shift the narrative, even his pull in ESPN, like everything he does has purpose. But when we're just talking about pure basketball, it's only Michael Jordan. You know, it's not even close. And LeBron James is the person that kind of shot himself up there with Mike. He skipped a lot of people, but nobody put LeBron there. LeBron put people there to put him there, if that makes sense. So you hire somebody to say what you want them to say, as we would call it, putting a battery in somebody's back, but you can tell they're hired hits. Say Shannon Sharp wakes up every morning and worships LeBron. That ain't never been Shannon. When Shannon was in the NFL, he didn't kiss no butt. Now all of a sudden you're a man worshiper every day? And what network have we ever seen somebody worship one man every year for 20 years? Like, think about that. Like, that's excessive. So if we're watching the NFL network, they're not just going to talk about one player every day, all day for 20 years. What do they do? Like NASCAR, golf, they don't talk about the same person every single day, all day long, and push a narrative. Well, that's what they're doing because basketball is entertainment. It's like the WWE. They're pushing storylines. They're selling feelings. You know, it's a lot that I could touch on. But if we're just going to stay purely on basketball, it's not close. It's Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan has 6 rings. He's been to the finals 6 times. He's never lost. Never been to a game 6. He won Finals MVP every time. 10 times plus all defensive team. All-time leading scorer, points per game. He's never lost a championship game since high school, college, Olympics, pro, all-star. Name it, he's never lost a championship in his life. LeBron's always losing in the finals. Like, so it's just like, if you get down to the facts, it's obvious. But when you're talking about a social media popcorn generation that thinks memes is gospel, then yeah, LeBron is it. He's the savior. I mean, only an idiot, and I'm saying this openly, I'm pretty sure he'll see what I do. That's why they shadow block me on social media. But only an idiot would show up to an interview with a Malcolm X book and he didn't read it. Like, only an idiot would do that. Like, you're making a fool out of all of us. And then the people that you like the most wouldn't like you. Like, the things you like, okay, I'm going to say this and then I'm going to let you keep going because you know I'll stay on this all day.
Do what you do, bro.
If I'm a Christian, if I'm claiming to be a Christian, I probably should know the Bible. I probably should know who Jesus is and what he stood for. So I can't be everything opposite of what he is, but I love him. It's an oxymoron. So all the people he claims he loves would not like him. They would hate you. Malcolm X would hate you. You're exactly what he was talking about. So why are you at the podium with his book, pushing the pages? And they're like, oh, you read Malcolm's book? Yeah. Tell us how far you've gotten. Oh, I ain't read that much. He was a good man, and he stood up for us. Cut. Somebody take the book from him. Get him Sam I Am Dr. Seuss. Get him that book. We know you read that book. You didn't read this. I can't, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't co-sign with you just because you black.
Right.
And that's where we are in society. He black, so I stand behind him. Listen, I'm sorry, man. Stupid is stupid, man. Just be an athlete. Ain't nothing wrong with just being a great basketball player. Right. You're not this civil rights movement leader, because if they start touching LeBron's money, he'll do that China thing he did where he pulled back and started backpedaling. Like, you're not like Muhammad Ali. They couldn't strip you of everything and you would be okay.
Right.
Yeah, like, stop, like, cut it now. We've seen you with the fire on you. Sam, did you see him where he said the white people wrote nigga on his house when he was at his game?
Yeah.
Okay, so stuff like that is what drives me away from supporting him. You're worth $900 million right now, right? You're worth $900 million. That means you live in a 900 million community. Mm-hmm. You're the most famous athlete on earth right now, and somehow racist white people got on your lawn and sprayed nigger on your house. Right. And your cameras didn't pick this up. There's no evidence. I read the police reports. I read the police reports. Mm-hmm. When they got to his house and say, you got the cameras on, we didn't see it. Right. So you just wanted some attention. You just made all of this up, but then they skipped that. Just like that school that they claim he built. That's a public school. Taxpayers are paying for that school, but they don't talk about that because he just wanted that boom headline, which is genius, but it's ingenuine. Like you lying. Like, stop. Like, we see you. Right. You know what I'm saying? So I can't rock with dude, man. He ain't my kind of guy. I wasn't raised like that. So
tell us how you really feel.
If I was in the alley, I wouldn't want him with me. I put it to you that way. If something jumped off, somebody get him. You know, they ain't my kind of guy, man. Listen, I'm Jordan all day. I'm Kobe all day. Even though we know Sam, we know how Sam felt now during them Laker runs, but I'm Jordan, Kobe, Ali, Evander Holyfield. Like, we were raised around men, and he brought in kind of this feminine culture of men. Mm-hmm. And I can say it openly. I do not support feminine energy for men. And we had generations of strong men leading us. We had Kareem and Bill in the 60s and 70s. In the 80s, we had, Magic, the Alis. In the 90s, we got Mike, we got Kobe, we had Shaq, we had, so these are power tie brothers. In the 2000s, you know what I'm saying? We had Tim Duncan. We had some stand-up, strong men. And then we got LeBron, and just look at all the kids now.
Russell Westbrook.
Everybody has the same mindset as him. If I don't get my way, I'll just go somewhere else. Yeah. I'll pout. I'll cry. I'll do this. I'll do it. It didn't used to be like that. Go in the house with your dad and say, they ain't treating me fair. Hey, you better go back out there. Right. Oh, they bullying me. What's that word? Right. You better go out there and face your truth.
Right.
Like, think about it, man. Our parents used to kick us out of the house in the summertime at 9 a.m. and we came back at 9 p.m. You drank the water hose on the side of the house and come home for a sandwich and you back out there. Okay. So out there, what'd you face? You had to deal with fights. You had to learn how to maneuver in life from each neighborhood you went in or whatever you did. Nobody could save you out there. You had to learn on the fly. Now, oh no, I'm telling you. What? Yeah. So it's like, how can you be the superpower like China, Korea, Russia, when you're making all of our people live in a virtual reality and all the men are being raised by women and everybody's soft? Mm-hmm. But that's the culture. LeBron James, no dad. Mm-hmm. Kevin Durant, no dad. Draymond Green, no dad. All these dudes are fatherless, but they on TV teaching our men how to be men. Right. They're just super emotional, man. It's just like, I don't know, man. I hope it turn around, but it's super different out here now.
Yeah, no, it's a new culture. It even transcends sports. I mean, it's in every aspect of life right
Yeah,
now. You know, it's everybody's in the microwave society. They want instant results. You know, like you said earlier, the entire social media phenomenon is just not real. It's not based in reality. It's based in fantasy. So I do understand that. I certainly understand that. Now you said something in the midst of your conversation. You might have thought I missed it, but when you talked about that WWE, as we know the WWF, my question is, where's my belt? Where is my belt? Where is my belt? My championship belt. Now you know you be talking about where's my belt, bro. I'm just gonna say,
hey
where's
listen, man. I got four of them things. You've been asking for that belt for a long time.
I know.
Look, won't you tell them when the last time I saw you? You the one that I'm out the country and you still can't stay stationary.
I know. Yeah, that is true. But that's still, I'm changing the subject. You're a master. Where's my belt?
No. So look, I got one for you. I got one for you because I do want to know this recap from somebody that understands the industry in and out when it comes to music because I won't say names because I don't know I don't know how vocal you are, as far as your listeners knowing about everything you've done, but you've been with the biggest of the biggest and the stars of the stars. So I would say this, in this new generation of lack of talent, lack of creativity, when we're coming from a culture, let's say, for example, in the 60s, where you had Parliament, and in the 70s, where George Clinton and Bootsy Collins came into their own, and then you talk about the Al Greens, the Barry Whites, the Earth, Wind, and Fires, the Rick
Hmm.
James, Prince, Michael Jackson. You're talking about people that had real concerts, that played real
Hmm.
music, real instruments, like real voices that they could
Right.
perform live, and then
Yep.
dance and do all this stuff. How did this happen? What is this that we have now where people have 8 bars and they repeat the same word
Yeah.
10 times and it's a hit?
Yeah.
Or all of our women are promoting being whores as the coolest thing going.
Yeah.
Like, I can't cook, but I can suck a D. It's just like, oh, well, I don't want my daughter to hear that.
Right.
Like, that's not what you want to strive to be because all of those women preaching those things have husbands. But then the
Mm.
generation they're leaving behind have no husbands. They have dogs that for them.
Right.
So I want to hear from somebody that's in the industry. I really do want to hear from somebody from the industry to say what happened to the transition because you used to have talent.
Mm.
Now the society is so dumbed down, anything goes.
Yeah. Well, you actually just answered it in terms of what you talked about with basketball, what you talked about with sports. It is the exact same thing. We've started to live in an entitlement, environment. People are entitled, and it's just not real. It's a different type culture. You're absolutely right. In the music industry, it's not about talent anymore. It's about marketability. How can you become the best marketer? Not necessarily the most talented. And as you said with basketball, back in the day, talent rules. Today, it's all about being marketable. When you look at this, good or bad, but when you look at the Kardashians and that entire clan, they're not talented. They're talented at marketing. They don't have a skill set, but the skill set is marketing. Now, you may look at it and say, well, they have a $1 billion enterprise. Well, so be it. But the skill set is not this, it is marketing. And it's very much the same with music. It's just nowhere near what traditional music is. And me having an instrumental music background as well as working with artists, as you said, is just totally different. But like you said, it's a cultural thing. And it's going across every spectrum of life right now, from sports to entertainment and everything. It's kind of scary, to be honest with
Very scary.
you. Yeah.
Very scary. You can't even turn on your TV. You're talking about somebody that is a lover of music and film. I love movies. In my mind, like when me and you used to watch films, we used to talk about them, and it was always a conversation of what the director was doing. Not,
Hmm.
oh, Denzel did that. It's like, whoa, man, the director really put that together. Or I like the way he
Right.
tied that in. Or, hey, do you see that Pepsi can right there? I wonder how much they paid
Right.
to
Yeah.
be like. It was always the small stuff.
Product placement.
Yeah, now it's like, what is the movie really even about? I'm confused.
Yeah.
You're not. It's not tying together nothing. It's just gore or action or just sex or violence. It's just like There was no story. There was
Yeah.
no plot. There was no what did I just watch?
Right.
Like they're not even talented anymore. Like my God, if I watch another TV show created by Tyler Perry, I'm gonna throw up in my own mouth. I'm sorry.
I knew
I'm
that was
sorry.
coming.
I know I'm on your thing. I can't be saying that. Listen, man.
I knew that was coming.
It's what is happening? Do they want him to push this narrative? Like, what am I watching? This is not talent. Like,
Right. Yeah, I
he's a
remember.
Kardashian, if you ask me. He's a Kardashian too.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, it's marketing. It's just strictly all about marketing. Good or bad. That's just is what it is. So, well, look, I know we could talk all day. I just want to kind of get an idea of what you're doing. Really expose your concepts to the audience of the Deep Dive podcast. Tell us a little bit about what you're doing in terms of your programs, your basketball programs. What are you doing around the world?
Well, I mean, as you said, I played for 15 years. So after playing, I started transitioning into coaching, with also still kind of playing around with playing. But as you know, it was always about the business. Nobody really knew I was doing business when I was that young, when I was with you. But for me, it was always about building the business and understanding that there's no longevity in a body. You have to use your mind.
That's right.
So just creating concepts, that can help culture, that can change culture, and also be financially beneficial for somebody with my lifestyle as far as not wanting to live in the country. So there's been thousands of ideas. Right now we're just into international events where we're putting these college athletes in a position to make the transition to the next level. The best metaphor I can use is Denzel in American Gangster, when he played Frank Lucas. Everybody selling drugs in the 70s, 60s would stand on the block, or you would have block runners. He was smart enough to go straight to the supplier. That's what I did. I'm not doing the corner business where you sending in videos and hope for the best. No, I take the athletes to the country in front of their coaches, in front of their federations, in front of the teams, and say, here they are. Now I look at the athletes and say, hey, you paid me a service fee to get you an opportunity. That's the man that signs you. Right. Go perform. That's what I'm offering you. So they get to go out there and perform. They get to play on television, and a lot of them get signed. A lot of them don't. I've had situations where guys come for 2 years and then they get signed later. But that's what I want to do. I want to put people in a position to earn it. I'm not giving you anything.
Right. Yeah.
And I'm definitely not paying for you, because one mistake we've made as Black people. My father raised me. The principles he taught me, I teach to my kid now. Problem with Black people is our ancestors struggled, and the generations that go down make the struggle a little lighter. I want my kids to have better than I had. So what you do is you skip the struggle step. So they lost the character. They lost the integrity. They lost the respect of the dollar that was earned, or lost the respect for having the opportunity to go to college, or to be a professional player, or to have a passport, or to have your own bathroom. Like, we lose sight, of what was really important and what all of this is really about. So I make them earn it, because if I give it to you, you're going to piss on it anyway.
Right.
So if I make you work, you're going to appreciate it more. Sam made me work. What are you talking about? He didn't give me nothing. Hey, I love you, but I ain't with it. Yeah, that's the Sam line, right? I love you, I ain't with it. It don't make sense to me. You know what I'm saying? And the older I got, the more I understood it. It wasn't personal. It's like, hey, I love you enough to make you, grow and understand why things are the way they are.
Yeah.
And when you finally get something, it's like, okay, I cherish this a little more than I would have if it was just handed. No matter what anybody says, if something is just given to you, you're not going to appreciate it. I don't care, period.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I pride myself on that. And anybody listening to this podcast, if they didn't get nothing out of anything I said, I would want them to get this. Our ancestors went through hell, not us. They went through hell for us. We ain't went through that hell.
Right.
So I'll be damned if I wake up in the morning no matter what kind of problem I have, no matter if the business fails, no matter the business, if I don't give my maximum effort for the sake of the ones before me that didn't get the opportunities that I had, there would have been plenty of black people that would have killed to see Greece, to see Tokyo, to see Athens, to see Paris. Like, I've been to all these places and accomplished all these things.
Right.
It's not possible without their sacrifice or their death, their torment, their torture. So I'd be damned if I don't get up and I don't work absolutely as hard as I can to make a way for the next me in 2050. You know what I'm saying? So we all have a responsibility out here, you know, and I appreciate the Sam Orms of the world that say, I love you enough to not do this for you. I'm there for you if you're ready, but if you're not ready, I can't help you.
Yeah.
Because now I'm teaching you to be bullshit. For example, if people do read the Bible, there's scripture that says Jesus is hanging on the cross, and Jesus looks up in the sky and said, Father, why have you forsaken me? But what they don't understand about this metaphor is God is perfect, and Jesus had the sins of the world on his body. So if he jumped in there and saved Jesus, that would make him a hypocrite right on the fly. So he had to suffer and endure just to prove how powerful he really was.
Right.
But people don't understand that concept. When they gather that concept, they'll learn to appreciate those people more. And I do. I do. I appreciate my father. I appreciate the Sam Orms. I appreciate the real men that stood in for me and taught me how to be a man, because we struggling out here. Yeah. You know, our men in particular, and they don't realize that the war is at us. You know, Dave Chappelle is genius enough to manipulate words to say it without backlash. But I don't have that talent, so I'll just say what it is.
You just say it.
I'm just going to say it. The war is with us.
Consequences be damned.
Look, I've already accepted the fate. It is what it is, man.
Why is it that I'm always looking at your social media and you have been banned?
Man, look.
You in Facebook jail.
They got tired of blocking me so much, they just shadow block me. Like, nobody can see you anymore. It doesn't matter what you say. We're going about this the whole wrong way with this guy. Right. I was getting so much attention. They was like, no, enough of this. Shadow block. I
was like, Lord, they done shut him down again. But hey, you know what? Hey, it is what it is. You're going to keep it real, so I don't have no problem with it. But look, bro, I you know, like I said, we could talk all day. You know how we do it. I remember all of our conversations. I remember a lot of those conversations when we're like, bro, that just don't make sense. You know, and for now to see you have grown to the point where, you know, you like you said, you got it, you understand it, but more importantly, you sharing these same messages with other people around the globe, which is powerful, man. So you ought to be congratulated on that. And I know we joke a lot, I know we kid a lot, but at the end of the day, I respect you for what you do and who you are. And anybody that know me, know that I don't just throw that word around frivolously, because if I don't, I'm not going to say it, you know. So I do respect you. I respect what you're doing. You know, you're my business partner, but you're also my brother, and I love you, and I'm proud of you. Just keep doing what you're doing, man, and, you know, just keep empowering people, because that's what we're about, the empowerment of people.
Definitely. I appreciate you. I do appreciate you. I appreciate your words, and I totally agree. It's all about building our people up and making us better, because I'm a product of it. You know, I'm a product of that preaching. So, you know, I appreciated myself, man. And I already know the influence you've had over the world, just saving people, man. And I tell people all the time, you know, everybody knows Sam that don't know Sam. I tell them all the time, anytime I mess up, I know I got to go back to the house and I got to take it. Man, what you mean by take it? I'm like, listen, when you know what you did and you're seeking counsel, you got to take the punishment. So he's going to cuss me out. He's going to beat me down, this, and this. And then at the end of the day, all right, we got to fix this situation.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So the problem with this new generation, man, they don't want to take the beating.
Yeah.
Like you came in here asking me for my counsel. Now you're gonna tell me how to give it to you? You can get out. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So being
Right.
humble enough to you know to take it. Like
Yeah.
you gotta serve before you can lead.
Yeah.
You
That's
gotta
deep.
serve.
That's deep.
So
That's deep.
you know,
Yeah.
they want to come out the womb on top and don't know nothing.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what, I'm gonna write that one down. Where you got to serve. All right. So, but I truly understand that, man, and I appreciate you again, brother. We're gonna have to do this again. You know, it's a lot of fun. I'm gonna catch you while you're in the U.S. You know, traipsing around the country, and I still got to come out there where you are. So, you know, we're gonna make that happen. In the meantime, I won't tell people to follow you because they can't because you blocked all everywhere.
You can follow me, man. Look, my stuff up here. What you talking about?
Yeah, it's up there today, but what about tomorrow? If you're in Facebook jail again tomorrow.
Look, man. Look, man. Look. I'm gonna start acting like Kevin Durant. We'll make burner pages.
There you
Look,
go.
you keep messing with me and putting me out there. I'm gonna tell everybody how you bully Ray J. See, look,
Oh no.
I'm just playing. I'm just playing.
No, you ain't playing. Well, we got some stories we could actually tell, but we'll say that for another time. But yeah, Ray J, yeah, okay. Yeah. Hey man, I appreciate everything again, brother. So yeah, how can we just kind of follow you and, you know, people that want to follow you and, you know, just kind of see what's going on and especially take a look at your podcast? How can we actually stay in touch?
Yeah, my social media pages are easy. Facebook is just Jermaine Barnes. Instagram is JuiceMan8 with a G. That's GUICEMAN.8. And Truth Podcast. You just type in Truth Podcast on Instagram. We're on Spotify. We're on everything. iTunes, you name it. Show's doing really good now. You can find it on YouTube. Next show will be out in a month. Yeah, man. That's the easiest way to find me. And I'm social, so you know I'm easy to find. And I'm petty, so I reply to everything too.
Yeah, I don't know why, but yeah, you do. I think you sometimes you just be starting stuff just to start stuff.
Hey man, I tell them all the time, I got time. I got time.
You get these cats all worked up and they going back and forth. And because I know you, I know what you're doing. I'm just sitting there reading and laughing. Like, they just don't get it.
Sam, I tell them all the time, don't be mad at me because your vacation is my Tuesday.
There you go. Exactly. That's exactly right.
Let me stop. That's my go-to line.
Hey,
that's the truth. That to somebody.
That's the truth, though.
I'm sell that to somebody.
Hey, there you go. That's what I'm talking about. Well, hey, look, man, I appreciate it again. Appreciate you for, speaking to all of us on the Deep Dive podcast. For those of you who are listening in, continue to tune in. We're live every Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. We replay on all podcast platforms around the world. So just pick your platform and just listen to any of the episodes again. And we're going to continue to make sure that we bring you the best of the best in terms of our guests, in terms of our empowerment and entertainment. Be sure to like, subscribe, download, and share the Deep Dive podcast. So with that, JB, thanks again, my brother. A salute to you. And I'll see you guys, and especially you, JB, on the beaches of the world. God bless, and y'all have a great day.